I mean, how much you willing to pay? God almighty, I just don't understand. Algonquin, hi there, Al, you're on the air, WLS. Or my mistake, it's a car phone. Hi there, car, you're on the air. Geez, guess not. Chickened out at the last minute. Now we'll go to Algonquin. Hi there, Al, you're on the air, WLS.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't know what I would pay, but I was in the service about 12 years ago. I accepted $831 a month base pay.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't accept that as a price on my life. I accepted that as a price that I took to protect you, as well as my kids, my brothers and sisters, my mother and father.
Well, there wasn't anybody threatening me, sir, so you weren't protecting me because there wasn't anybody threatening me.
Well, you don't seem to understand. Would you rather not have a military at all?
I don't think that's what we were talking about, but
well,
I was just correcting you that you were not protecting me, sir, because there wasn't anybody threatening me.
Well, if that's how you feel, then you're pretty narrow-minded.
That's how I feel, that I'm pretty narrow-minded?
If you don't think that anybody out there is threatening, well, Americans or America or you as being part of America...
Who's threatening America, sir?
Anybody, well, at the time I went in, the Russians were threatening America.
They were?
Right.
Really?
And they were threatening you.
The Russians have no capability whatsoever of attacking this country in any other way than with missiles and a suicide attack.
So you'd rather just not have a military and...
no, sir. We're still trying to figure out who in the hell was threatening me. And there is no nation on the face of the earth capable of launching a land attack on this country. It is impossible. So who the hell are you defending me from, sir?
Maybe we're defending the our way of life. Maybe not us particularly.
Who was threatening our way of life, sir?
Communism.
Communism.
Right. No,
communism was not threatening our way of life, sir. There's no communist movement in this country.
You don't seem to understand that. You don't seem to get the picture, though.
Well, sir, you don't seem to have the picture. I mean, you're defending me from who? I mean, you're so proud that you defended me, but who in the hell were you defending me from?
I was defending the American way of life.
From who? Against who?
Against anyone that might aggress it.
There weren't any aggressors, sir, trying to change the American way of life.
Do you think there is now?
No, sir.
Do you think there ever has been?
No, sir.
Never?
No.
First of history. So you think that we shouldn't have been in World War II? We weren't protecting anything there or defending anything? World War I, Korea?
The American way of life, sir, was not threatened in the First World War. There was no one attacking this country.
So then we shouldn't have soldiers and we shouldn't have fought in that war.
Sir, that's not at all what I said, is it?
Well, yeah, that's
you keep telling me that you're defending me from all of these enemies, but who are these enemies that you're defending me from? You know, the Kaiser? He didn't threaten the country, sir. Ho Chi Minh? He didn't threaten the country, sir. Ayatollah Khomeini? He didn't threaten the country, sir.
Well, obviously they're threatening our way of life.
They are? How?
They're doing it.
Who? And how? Is Hussein threatening our way of life, sir?
Well, I don't know what this is all about over here. If it's about oil, he could be. But I'm not saying that, though. But I don't think you can just back off and let Hussein go over there and say all these people that are being paid to be in the army right now are just putting a price on their life, and that doesn't affect you or I. I'm no longer in the military, so I believe they're over there to help me.
To help you?
I believe they're over there to help you.
They're over there to defend you. From what?
They're over there to defend the American way of life. I am an American.
Yeah, yes, sir. I gathered that from your accent. I'm an American, too. Who's going to take away your way of life, sir?
Accents.
Who's going to take away your way of life? And how?
Well, maybe you got me. But
I think I do, sir. I think I do. Off it is to, let's see here, Rolling Meadows. Hi there, Rolling. You're on the air, WLS.
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Listen, I want to try and address your question. I don't know that I can answer it, but maybe I can try and explain to you why it's the wrong question. In our country, we don't have a mercenary army.
Don't we, sir?
Well, in other words, we don't pay an individual who chooses to join the military a specific dollar amount for a certain mission. We don't say, we got this mission for you, we're going to pay you this much money. Once you accomplish the mission, you go home. We don't pay infantrymen more than we pay a cook. We don't pay a tank crewman more than we pay a clerk.
Yes, we do, sir. It depends upon where they're stationed.
Well, that's true. If there's hostile fire, there's certain things like hostile fire pay and that sort of thing. But basically, we pay the various occupations in the military the same amount of money with differences basically.
Right. There are a lot of guys that sit in Washington and the Pentagon trying to figure out how much in the way of pay and benefits they have to come up with to meet the recruitment goals.
Well, that's
and not a penny more.
Okay, that's true. Let me go on, Bob. And my point was that we don't have a mercenary army. We pay people the same across the board with some minor variations. But what individuals do when they join the military is they take an oath to obey the lawful orders of their superiors.
No, so they take an oath to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States of America.
Well,
that's what they take the oath for.
That's part of the oath.
No, that is the oath.
Well, that's part of the oath. As an enlisted individual, and I was in the Marines for 3 years, I also took an oath to obey the lawful orders of my superiors. My superiors, in turn...
Right, in terms of defending and protecting the Constitution of the United States of America.
That's right. That's right. My superiors, in turn, had taken an oath to obey the lawful orders of their superiors.
No, they took an oath to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States of America. They took the same oath that you took.
And in protecting and defending the Constitution, they would issue lawful orders to me, which I was obligated to obey. Okay? Now, what it comes down to is the country relies on me when I join the military. And am I obligated to obey every possible order that could come from a superior? No, I don't believe I am.
So how much is all of this worth, sir? Give me a dollar figure.
Well, again, I don't...
How much are you willing to pay for?
I hope you're not going to cut me off like you did the other...
If you don't give me a dollar figure, I am.
Well, here, let me tell you why I can't give you a dollar figure.
Goodbye.
This is WLS Talk Radio 890.
WLS Chicago.
The time at the tone is 5 o'clock.
Me to go yet. If they tell me to go,
well, sir, if it's as much of a threat as you would have me believe that you think it is, I'm somewhat puzzled as to why you're sitting back waiting for them to call you. I mean, why not, knock on the door and say, "Here I am. Don't forget me."
Well, every unit has a different mission, and we haven't been told. When you say put a price on it, I don't do this for the money. A lot of people say we're the reserves. There isn't a lot of money involved in it. And
what do you do it for then?
Say again?
What do you do it for?
I do it because I like the service. I like the environment. You learn a lot.
But you don't want to go active?
Not necessarily. In fact, as soon as I graduate college, I'm planning on making a career out of it. There are a lot of benefits. I don't think people should have to go. And the people who say that they don't want to have any part of the service, that's fine. I see nothing wrong. The people I do look down on are the ones who are putting down the soldiers and Marines and sailors who are over there.
Like who?
All the different protesters and anti-war activists.
All the different protesters and anti-war activists are putting down the Marines and the soldiers over there. Really?
Well, yeah.
What have they said that would lead you to believe that?
The fact that they should not be there, that there are those
I believe they're protesting the people who sent them there, sir. I don't recall any protests of people for going there.
Well,
do you?
I just feel that instead of that, they could help morale by supporting the troops.
Help morale, in other words, cheerlead the war.
In a way.
Yeah.
I remember at the beginning of all this when people were getting letters and care packages all over. There was the yellow ribbons and support, and it slowly faded to get out. We don't want you there. We don't need them there. And that brings down morale. That brings down the...
Oh, gee, Williger. So all these people should, of course, lie to themselves to keep morale up over there so that so those guys can, have the proper killing spirit. Of course, you don't want to join them. You just want to stand at home and cheerlead.
I didn't say that.
Kill! Kill!
I don't think
but not with me. Kill! Kill!
I don't think anybody...
2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Yeah, right.
It's not about...
Push them back, shove them back, way back. Well, I'll bet you know all the cheers, don't you?
Happy to be back to listen to more talk with Bob Lassiter.
Thank you, Johnson, my journalist. As always, sir, a pleasure to follow one of your newscasts.
You're welcome, sir.
I say that with all sincerity, and I wouldn't say it to anyone else but you.
You never say that while I'm gone?
Never.
Beautiful. See you later, Bob.
Off it is to, where were we here? The north side. Hi there, North. You're on the air at WLS.
Oh, Bob.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Okay, I just want to expand a little bit on what the caller about the top of the hour was talking about by defending our way of life. Now, see, the people here don't understand that, after Hussein invaded Kuwait, that he would not have won it to Saudi Arabia. And he wants that oil. And you know what they were to do to our economy?
Great, sir. That's fine and well. How much are you willing to pay the kids over there?
You can't put a price on it.
Sure
how
can,
you
sir. What do you mean you can't put a price on it? They do put a price on it, sir. There are very specific amounts they pay. How much do you think it's worth?
But I guess the Pentagon's right, whatever they put on it.
So about $800-900 a month is what it's worth.
And schooling and everything else. I mean, no one's paid exactly what they're worth, high or low. I mean, it's. I mean, you can't put a price tag on it.
Sure you can, sir. They do put a price tag on it.
No.
Yeah, they do, sir.
Well then.
And you think the price is right?
Well, we say that it's right or wrong. I mean,
what do you mean? Who are you? You're an American citizen, sir.
Mm-hmm.
It's your obligation to take part in things like that.
Well, but it's not. I'm not part of the government to decide what exactly.
You are the government, sir. Well, you may not be part of it, but you are the government.
Well, neither of us have say so on how much they get. And about the people who call it, you say, why don't you sign up? Or why don't you join or whatever? I mean, we don't need 14 million people over there. I mean,
well, sir, obviously they don't have enough.
Well, you don't think so?
No, sir. Remember they extended the enlistments and that kind of stuff, sir? Can't rotate the troops because they don't have troops to rotate them with?
Well, I don't think we need even 1 million troops over there. Well, you think we need more enlisted?
Well, sir, they apparently think they need more since they can't, rotate and things like that. They don't have enough, sir.
Hopefully it'll be a quick war and it'll be over. Yeah. And also you told the caller that we were never. I'm sorry. What I hear? We were never threatened. Then a couple calls.
No, not since 1812, sir. Not since 1812.
Well, you just submitted to a couple callers ago that we were threatened partially in World War II.
No, sir. I did not say that this country's mainland was threatened. It wasn't.
Well,
not by Germany.
What should we do? Wait until the enemy is on our shore, and then say,
well, no, sir. No country has the ability to put massive forces on our shores.
That's kind of naive.
No, it's not naive at all, sir.
No?
No, it would take months and months and months of preparations and weeks to try to get here. And we would know about it.
Well,
and could stop them 2,000, 3,000 miles away. No one, sir, has the capability of putting considerable forces on the shores of this country. It is an impossibility.
Well, how come Hussein didn't strike when we were just starting to get troops in Saudi Arabia?
Thank you ever so much for your enlightening call, sir. Lamont, hi, Lee. You're on the air at WLS.
Yeah, I'd sure like to give you some information. I'm just an old World War II infantryman. I'll give you a monetary amount.
Great.
But first, I'd like to straighten some things
you're going
out.
to keep us in suspense.
Yeah, listen. In 1941, the Japs attacked Pearl Harbor.
Yes, sir, by air.
Which we controlled, and our whole fleet was there.
Right, sir.
Now, the next day, President...
I've read about that. I heard about that.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you a little more facts. The next day, President Roosevelt went before Congress and asked for a declaration of war.
Right, sir. Yeah, I read about that, too.
Okay. And he
now do you want to give us the price?
Japan and Germany.
Really,
right?
Son of a gun.
Okay.
Regina, you want to double-check that Roosevelt's third war?
Yeah, but a lot of these young guys that are calling you don't seem to know that.
Well, it's probably, sir. I think they do know. It's just it's not what we were talking about today.
Well, you're talking about monetary stuff and that, but another thing.
So now you're going to give us a price on how much.
Sure, I'll give you a price after I tell you. I think Mr. Bush is calling this guy a madman. I think he's a madman.
So
anybody
what's the price,
that sent troops over there with
what is the price, sir?
Okay, I'll tell you why. What is it? Still $10,000 if you get killed? Is that the insurance they paid?
No, sir, but I think it's probably right.
Okay. Well, give me the 10,000. Give me the 20,000 that they gave the Japanese for interning them over there in the West Coast for 4 years. I spent 4 years in the Army. They didn't give me $20,000. Give me another $100,000 combat pay, and I'll go. Right now.
Well, that I had it in my checking account. To the west side. West, you're on the air, WLS.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I would suggest that a reasonable amount would be somewhere between $25 and $200 on a checkoff list on the income tax, as long as it was, that you had a choice of doing it. And I agree with one of the other callers that if you sum all this up, this is a significant amount of money over and above everything else that has been mentioned. In addition, it gives some measure for the American people to talk about these things or to decide about these things. If it's a checkoff, like the wildlife fund, I hate to suggest that, but if you want an amount of money, that's a tremendous amount of money. It can be used either in benefits to the people if they die, or to the people if they're left in terms of them going ahead.
Thank you ever so much. Off it is this time to Elk Grove Village. Hunter up here on the air, WLS.
How you doing, Bob?
Fine, thank you.
I'm listening to a lot of these guys from Great Lakes with their oath of enlistment. I happen to have the oath of enlistment here for the reserves, and they all skip over a couple of things. They're always making the statement that, as you said, that they will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution, and then they will obey the orders of the President of the United States. Well, those people that are in the National Guard also bear true faith and allegiance to the governor of the state of Illinois. So if the governor of the state of Illinois wanted us to go to war, I guess they would go. I would put a figure on for you, though, probably equal to that of our national debt, because I don't think one man's life is worth... I don't think we can put a price on one man's life. So if we had to, let's put the cost of our national debt on each person, and when we couldn't afford it, maybe we would think about different ways of settling this controversy in Saudi Arabia.
Thank you very much. This time it is Oak Lawn. Hi there, Oak. You're on the air, WLS.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
I'd like to answer your question in the way that during peacetime they should be paid what they're getting now. And then if they get sent into any kind of operation like they are right now, they should get paid the same amount who's ever sending them over there. Like in this case, they should get paid what the president gets.
A couple of $100 a year.
Yeah. That would make it ridiculously expensive, therefore would discourage these kind of forays.
Well, let's see, 400,000. And another 8, and another 5 zeros. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Geez. It would only roughly, would only come to $80 billion. Gosh, we're willing to spend that kind of money for, with invisible bombers.
Well, you got a point there.
Yeah, for 80 airplanes, we'd spend that kind of money. That's not really that big.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of the things I'm getting at, the biggest threat, I think, to the American way of life isn't anywhere in another country. I think it's the willingness of our people, our citizens, to go along with something like this at the drop of a hat. And it's really scary that all he has to, the president has to come out there and say, we've got to defend our way of life and everything.
That's an awfully interesting concept. I'm sitting here thinking about your $200,000 a year, which I'm sure most people would say would be absolutely insane. But that would only be an 8% tax increase. If you paid $5,000 a year in taxes, that would only be $400.
Yeah.
Gee, it's not really that bad, is it?
Well, maybe people wouldn't think so if they had to come up with that extra $400.
Thank you very much. 5918900. Wheeling, I will on.
Well, I'd kind of like to get back to some of the reasons why we're over there.
I don't care why we're over there, sir. That's irrelevant. How much are you willing to pay people to go there?
I think that it's worth all that we have.
How much are you willing to pay? Well, what's the bottom line figure, sir? What's it worth?
How much is the United States of America worth?
What is it worth, sir, for an individual to go over there?
I don't know what we're worth. I think
you have no idea what it's worth to you, sir.
I know what it's worth.
Is it worth $10,000 a month per man to you, sir?
I make $25,000.
I didn't ask you how much you earn, sir. I asked you what is it worth to ask somebody to go over there to kill and be killed. How much?
It's worth $10 billion. It's worth
$10 billion for every man and woman over there.
Whatever we have.
We don't have it, sir. How much are you willing to pay? Give me a number, a realistic number.
Tell me what's realistic.
5918900, the telephone number. Off it is to Evanston. Hi, Ev. You're on the air at WLS.
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Pretty good.
I'm looking at the possibility of probably having to go there next month. We've already sent over all of our equipment from our unit, and I would like to be making, I rather would not be going there, and I'm kind of, after listening to you for the past several weeks, I'm trying to figure out a way actually to not go over there. But I would like to be making at least about $4,000 a month, at least. That's after taxes, at least.
$48,000 net a year.
But I don't know. After listening to you, I was kind of, I'm not going to say looking forward to it, because I wasn't really looking forward to it, but I figured we were going to go over there anyway, but now I'm really not too encouraged about the whole thing after listening to you for the last several weeks.
5918900, 549 the time. Listen up, computer heads. Computer Discount Warehouse has a fabulous New Year's kickoff offer. Great promotion for you. Your choice of a free Cellular One car phone, yes, another toy, or a transportable phone with the purchase of any computer or laptop, including Toshiba's T8500. Yep, 25 megahertz desktop PC. Has a 100 meg hard drive, 2 megs of memory, VGA interface, MS-DOS 4.01 with 5.25-inch drive available. On-site service warranty during the first year for only $1,799, or any laptop, including Toshiba's 1200 XE with 12 megahertz, 286 processor, 20 meg hard drive, plus a 3.5-inch floppy disk drive, 1 meg of memory, and MS-DOS 4.01 operating system. So for complete details, hey, you got to call CDW sales reps today. In downtown Chicago, call 527-2700. In Northbrook, call 708-564-4900. 122-day new Cellular One activation is required. So why pay retail? CDW sells brand names for less. Plus, you get a free...
Once again, here's Bob Lassiter.
You know, this might be a two-banger before it's all over, and it will be over at the top of this hour. Can't deal with this much longer. Off it is to the southeast side. Hi there, Southeast. You're on the air at WLS.
Happy New Year, Bob.
Happy New Year.
I think it's really kind of absurd to attempt to place a dollar value on the price of a military commitment.
But I guess there's no sense in your taking part in this conversation then, huh? Right?
No.
Oh.
I think one of the grossest ethical recruiting violations this nation military has ever done was to try to tie military service to economic enhancement. I mean, there's no comparable occupation in military service, especially during combat. There is none. And for the military to try to make economic enhancement the primary reason to join up in the military, and that's how it got most of these people to go out and get a bunch of semi-mercenaries to enlist was just wrong. It's just wrong. The whole policy that way is wrong. When you cannot convince enough people to join the military during peacetime and to make them see that there's a reason why they should be in there, and I submit that there's either no threat to the country or that the national leadership can't articulate policies that are clear enough to make people see why they should join the military. I think that I think when you have trouble with getting people in the military, you got a failure of leadership at the top levels of the government.
Okay. Lansing, Lance, you're on the air at WLS.
Hello, how you doing, Bob?
Pretty good.
You're well informed, and I love your show. I hope there's lots of people listening tonight. $1 million if military personnel is killed in action, the government can pay the benefactor or the family $1 million or make it more. Make it so much money that it would be a penalty for the government to have such an action, such an event happen. Furthermore, inflate military income for any personnel outside the United States. What I'm trying to get at here is make it outrageous. There's too much money going to defense. We don't need all that garbage. Have enough military, keep them on the homeland. That's all we need.
Thank you very much, Crystal Lake. Crystal, you're on the air at WLS.
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Pretty good.
I wouldn't pay him a dime. Not one dime to go over there. I didn't ask him to go over there, so why should I have to pay for it? Zero amount of money for me. It's a ridiculous type of situation over there. It's about all I have to say is that I wouldn't pay them a dime. When I wanted to go into the service, they weren't willing to accept me. If it comes down to a draft or whatever, I still wouldn't be willing to go.
Rensselaer, you're on the air at WLS. Hi, Rents.
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Okay, the only thing I'd like to say is that if President Bush could give Egypt the pardon to pay all their money, I don't see why he couldn't give it to us servicemen as an increase in our pay for being out there.
$7 billion.
That's right, and that'd be a pretty good chunk of change for everybody to take care of their families here at home on what they live now from what the military pays.
Thank you much. Off it is this time to Kempton. Am I saying that correctly? Hi, Kemp. You're on the air at WLS.
That's it.
Okay.
I would say about $50,000 a month and $1 million on insurance, tax-free. I'm a Vietnam vet. I know what kind of situation you're in. I've been shot at. I've been through all kinds of hell, and I don't think anybody really cares about congressmen or anybody else, and when you're in that position. So I feel that's fair enough. I mean, if I can go, I would go for that amount of money. And
$600,000 a year and a $1 million life insurance policy,
sure.
And you're on your way.
Yeah, I'll do that. I mean, when you get back from the military, there's nothing for you. The money there's not enough money to survive on when you get after you come back. Either you're coming half of a body or dead in a bag. So so really they're not doing you no favor by giving you scholarships and all kinds of stuff. So I feel that that amount of money will there's a lot of people out there who doesn't have nothing, and that much money would help them out just to join up.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Well, I certainly do hope you young folk out there paid particular attention to the last 2 hours of this program. Very few people actually answered the question. Those who did said things like $100 a year. They'd be willing to kick in $100 a year for extra compensation for the people over there. One guy said somewhere between $25 to $250 a year. Kind of a check-off, it'd be voluntary. Another said, about what we give cops. And for all practical purposes, the rest of them didn't answer the question. They just couldn't quite put it into words. They found it kind of a silly question, rather absurd concept that you should be compensated for risking your life and for taking other lives, even though they don't find it an absurd concept that you should have to go do that because you were given a couple of $1,000 7 or 8 years ago. You might want to consider that. You might want to consider who it is that you would be serving. You might not either. It's up to you. Doesn't make much difference to me one way or the other. The dreaded third and final hour on its way.
This is WLS Talk Radio 890.
WLS Chicago.
The time at the tone is 6 o'clock.
How about next week?
Yeah, if I was your buddy, would have invited me to go skiing with you.
I have, and you wouldn't.
You have not.
You would never want to go out there.
Not.
You know it. You'd be smirched, Wisconsin, and the fine people who live in the snow. Admit it.
Only in Door County. Welcome back, fun seekers. Welcome back indeed for a, what is it? A Thursday, January the 3rd, 1991. Lassiter with you at WLS. Talk Radio 890, making an attempt An attempt to revive what had been an incredibly interesting third and final hour, the dreaded third and final hour, the open hour. Your opportunity to chat with a magnificent Lassiter about virtually anything except what we've just spent the last 2 hours talking about, right here on the radio, live in front of scores and scores and scores and hundreds and maybe thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, well, that's probably pushing a little bit, of your friends and neighbors. Though there is one individual I do wish to address, personally, close up. Perhaps 4, maybe even 5 months ago, during the course of the conversation on this program, a gentleman, as memory serves me, I'm pretty sure it was a man, called up and suggested to me that I get a computer game, which at the time I could not touch with a 10-foot pole because I had an Apple II GS, and this computer game was not available for the Apple II GS. The name of the computer program was Railroad Tycoon. I remember for some bizarre reason filing it away in the back of my mind. I don't know why, because I had no intention whatsoever of entering the IBM world. But nonetheless, he spoke so highly of it that I did file it away. Somewhere behind my left ear, I believe. And yesterday, I was out picking up some software for my new computer, the IBM. Well, it's an IBM clone, not actually an IBM. And I saw there on the shelf something called Railroad Tycoon. I bought 4 pieces of software. I left the studio last night at my normal... Well, actually, it wasn't my normal time. It was a basketball game, so 15 minutes early. I was home by 7 o'clock last night, actually in the apartment. And the muffin is out of town. She left town because the dishwasher is full. Every time the dishwasher gets full, she splits. Or at least it seems that way. And anyway, so I didn't really have anybody to talk to or anything. So I kind of wandered back to my office, and I had these 4 pieces of software, 3 of which I really wanted. Really, really wanted, had great need for. And I sat down and I kind of looked at the 4 pieces of... So I opened up Railroad Tycoon first. And somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 o'clock this morning, I finally turned off the computer and went to bed. And by 9:30 this morning, I was back there building railroads and hotels and building industries and things of that nature. If you, sir, or madam, as the case may be, are indeed listening, I don't think my life will ever be the same. It is not fair. I wish you would keep your opinions and your computer games to yourself in the future. Both myself and my lovely wife when she does return home. By the way, Mary, if you are listening, the dishwasher has been emptied. Dishes are clean and put away. You can come home now. And curses on you who mentioned that computer program to me. Let me give you the telephone number in the dreaded third and final hour of the open hour. 591-8900-591-8900. A glorious and grand opportunity to speak with the magnificent Lassiter. Round Lake Beach. Hello there, Round. You're on the air at WLS.
Hi, Bob. Did it work?
Did it work?
Did it work?
Well, sir, I know what you want to talk about, but unfortunately the rest of the audience doesn't, so why don't you ask me in a more formal fashion the question?
Mr. Lassiter, did you get that ice cream machine?
That is a very personal question, caller. Let us go back and review the situation. I made quite a point over a number of days on this broadcast, which of course is on a grand old lady of broadcasting, radio station WLS, a 50,000-watt clear channel powerhouse reaching a minimum of 38 states and several foreign countries, where I did everything in my power to humiliate, to shame, to cajole, to entice, to intimidate my wife, the lovely Muffin, into buying me a simple, humble ice cream machine that I have been begging for now for years. And you asked me after all that pressure if I got the ice cream machine?
Bob, I'm the guy that called up and pleaded over the airwaves to her for you.
Oh, you must be the one that she referred to as the busybody who should keep his nose out of things that don't concern him.
But did you get it?
No.
You didn't get it?
Nope.
You didn't buy it yourself?
Well, there's been a pseudo-compromise here, somewhat of a compromise. She announced, of course, that I was not getting the ice cream machine. She said, "No, no." However, she did point out in the we had this little catalog, these city dollars, I guess they are. It's some kind of promotion with one of our credit cards where they give you this fictitious discount on something. And she did point out that there is an Oster ice cream machine in there for around $30, and implied that it would be okay if well, she's told me all along, that it's okay if I get it. She's told me that now for years, but that isn't the point. I mean, it's not quite the same if I go out and buy the ice cream machine.
I agree.
And I've threatened. I said, I will buy it if you don't. And I even threatened to buy the $400 fancy schmancy one. And that didn't do any good. And she knows that I would do it. But even that would not move her.
Well, your birthday will be coming around. Maybe you'll get it then.
Well, the anniversary is first. That's only a couple of months away, and I will make another pitch, probably starting next week.
I'll plead for you too, Bob. Just remember Round Lake Beach and Moose. My wife Moose, I'll get her on the phone. We'll both plead. Maybe woman to woman, they can get it for you.
Well, I might even give out the address of the apartment so that, people could mass down in front of the lobby.
Hey, no way.
Carrying signs and things of that nature.
Listen, you got me on the Thanksgiving Day fax number. If you gave an address out on the air, I wouldn't listen to you.
It might be the only way I could possibly, shame her, force her into doing it, though.
Well, you know what? I don't want to make you feel too bad about that, but I want to bring up something else too that you talked about. Well, I don't know, it was a few weeks ago about your dream of retiring and getting out of the city and just working on your computer and having people say, "Yeah, but he's no Lassiter." Well, you've reached that.
I have.
No offense to Mr. Lauterbach or Rokan. I talked to both of them on occasion, and I like them both. But while you were gone, I was sitting here listening to Ted Lauterbach, and my wife says, "Do you like this guy?" And I said, "Yeah, but he's not Lassiter."
No, he's not Lassiter.
And it just dawned on me as the words came out of my mouth. You're half the way there. And
Thank
by
God
the way,
he's not Lassiter.
they're talking about you on WSB in Atlanta.
No, what are they saying?
Well, I listen to him at night. There's some crazy guy, David Paul, and he got a phone call from some guy down in Florida who said, "I can still get Lassiter, though." So you're still down there, Bob.
I am still there.
And they miss you.
Yes, they do.
And we'll miss you when you go. So stay a long time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take care. 591-8900, the dreaded third and final hour. 59... What did I say? I didn't give you the right phone number. It's 591-8900. Naperville. Hi, Naper. You're on the air at WLS.
Hi. We sure did miss you. It wasn't the same.
Well, of course it wasn't the same.
I wanted to ask you a couple questions. First of all, where'd you go on your vacation?
To a number of locations. First of all, we went over and spent a couple of days with Mary's parents in Davenport, Iowa.
Uh-huh.
Then we went to Galena for a couple of days. And
that's in Missouri?
No, it's in Illinois.
Okay.
Up in the northwestern corner.
Uh-huh.
Really pretty country. Really pretty country.
Did you get a fire in the cabin and all that stuff?
No, we stayed at a lodge. There were fireplaces available in some of the rooms of the lodge, but we didn't know that when we made the reservations. But still had delightful. We stayed at what the hell is it? Eagle Ridge.
Ah.
Which was, for the most part, pretty nice. There was one horrendous occasion, so bad it did cause me to do something I've never done in my entire life, and that is write a letter to the manager because of something that happened there. And I won't even go into great details unless he doesn't answer me satisfactorily. Then I will lay all the misery on the table.
Okay.
But we'll give him a chance, first of all, to respond without even saying a problem.
Okay?
Oh, yeah. Linky did fine, even in the ice, driving back from Galena.
Well, that was good. I had heard you say that you were a real big Mahjong fan.
No, I'm not. I got a Mahjong game that is on
the computer,
on my computer, and it has kept me also, as I did last night, up until ungodly hours of the morning. It's a fascinating game.
Me too.
I'd never really seen it before. I knew that it existed and all that kind of good stuff, but I'd never really touched it until I got the computer.
There's another version out of it. It's got different colored tiles, different patterns, and instead of using your keypad with the up and down arrows, you use the letters on yours?
No, I use the mouse.
You use the mouse. My husband likes the mouse. I like the 10 keypad on it. I wanted to tell you about another game. It's called Tetris. And it's like the one that Nintendo does, where the colored blocks come down and you make that diagonal rows.
I got 3 or 4 versions of that on my computer, and frankly, I think anybody that would play that game is a little bizarre.
Well, you know, this is...
I mean, my reflexes are not quite that quick.
I've beaten myself so often I can't beat myself anymore. I can't get back on the board.
Well, you know, if the playing area were a little bit larger, you know, where it took maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes for the piece to fall down, so you could figure out where in the hell to put it.
Yeah.
That might make it worthwhile, but
you change it. You change the color of the blocks. You can change them up and down, so that if you got the blue on the bottom, you can put it on the top.
You can.
Yeah.
Oh.
Use the middle key. Let me think. Use the middle keypad, the middle number.
Well, I would imagine that this railroad game will keep my interest for
Can
it.
you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, God. Well, first of all, I'm just barely into it. I mean, I'm at the most fundamental, elementary level of the game that you can be at.
Uh-huh.
But it is literally building and scheduling and running and improving and enhancing and maintaining an entire railroad starting in 1830. And the game can go on. I think it's possible to play for at least 100 years as the equipment changes and things of that nature. And it just gets more and more and more complex, and there are more and more things to watch and more things to consider. And then as you get into higher levels of the game, your competitors get really mean and nasty and do all kinds of bad things. And it's to my way of recreating, it is a perfect kind of, little game. You just totally lose yourself in it.
That's nice. Have you ever played SimCity?
No, not familiar with it at all.
You have a 3.5 disc drive?
Uh-huh.
Hard disk drive?
Yep.
And you have VGA color monitor?
Yep.
Would you like coffee?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, what the hell?
Okay, well, I'll get you a copy of it and send it to you. You'll like it because you build cities with it. You get to be mayor, and you can decide where to put your utilities and your houses and your factories and stuff.
Hey, great. After I get it up and running, we can send a copy to Richie.
That might be a good idea.
Or especially the Jane.
Well, it makes you a little more sympathetic to the mayors because if you raise their taxes, they yell, and if you don't raise their taxes and you can't build roads, then they yell, and your popularity, there's a popularity poll on it, and it tells you how well you're doing.
Well, I thank you very much.
Well, take care.
I'll do my best.
Back.
Be good.
Bye.
591-8900, 591-8900. It is 19 and a half minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock, and this is the dreaded third and final hour, the open hour. So far, we have dealt with the question about my ice cream machine, Tetris, as well as railroad tycoons, and my vacation. With all of the other things going on in the world, with all of the other grand and great and glorious issues in the world at this time, that is about the extent of it. The dreaded third and final hour has definitely deteriorated to shocking proportions. Shocking. Again, I shall give the telephone number at 591-8900 and indicate to you that in the dreaded third and final hour, the open hour, anything is acceptable except what we talked about in the first 2 hours. I don't know how much more clearly I could make it, or how much more clear I can make it. Whatever. 20 minutes now after the hour of 6 o'clock. Hi, this is... Well, we've got a fabulous new deal for you. Your choice of a free Cellular One car phone. 591-8900, the dreaded third and final hour. Off it is to a car phone. Hi there, Car. You're on the air at WLS.
Hello, Bob. How you doing?
Not too bad, Car. How you?
I'm fine. I'm in a mobile phone. This is not a full duplex system. It kind of works like a walkie-talkie. Are you familiar with this type of system?
Yes, I haven't heard this kind of system in ages. Where are you, man? I mean, you're back in the Stone Age.
Oh, gosh, tell me about it. Hey, I used to live in Clearwater when you were over at FLA.
Uh-huh.
I really miss them days. You and David Fowler.
Oh, yeah, Fowler. He's making furniture somewhere in Tennessee now.
Well, I know that was his lifelong dream where he didn't want to get out of the business and go to, I guess it was Tennessee or Kentucky and be out in the woods where no one else was around.
Everybody does at one point or another. It's a burnout business, you know?
Yeah, it sure is. I remember them were the good old days. As a matter of fact, I used to not really work at this car wash, but I used to sell some chemicals for him. It was one of your clients for advertising, the Grand Prix.
Oh, yeah, the Grand Prix car. I was just thinking about them the other day, to tell you the truth.
As a matter of fact, I don't know if you remember Tom or not, but I talked to him just about a week ago. I used to golf with him all the time. But I remember the day when David Fowler was fired from, I can't remember the name of the station.
TLP.
But I turned it on and heard, I guess it's the program director, and I never really listened to you that much. I just listened to him, and then I heard somebody say something about that Fowler was on with you. Weren't you guys doing a thing where you guys were on at the same time for a few days or something?
No, David always worked in the mornings. He worked from 9 until noon, and I always worked in the afternoons.
Maybe it was just the day that he was no longer at the other station you guys were on together. I guess he was.
Well, yeah, I had him on my show, Fowler's Wake. I had him on for 4 hours that day.
I really miss listening to him and I've been back in Springfield for about 2 years, and I get to clear as a bell. I'm in the insurance business. I'm in my car about 8 hours a day, and I used to try to get through Rush Limbaugh, but I can't really do that anymore. But I wait till you hear you come on. Then you're on an hour later, so I'm waiting until 4 o'clock. But I'm getting ready to move back down to Florida, and I don't know what the heck I'm going to do.
I don't know what you're going to do either.
Who's the big wig over at SLA now? I mean, is there anybody worth listening to down there?
Tell you the truth, I have no idea. I've not listened to that station. Obviously, I can't get it here, but I've not had any real contact with that station since the day I left.
Well, I was just talking to you. I wanted to talk to you for, gosh, the 2 or 3 years that I've been listening to you. So it was a pleasure talking to you.
Be good. 5918900, the dreaded third and final hour of the open hour. Michigan City. Hi there, Miss. You're on the air at WLS.
Gentlemen who wanted to copy the program for you?
Yes.
Sin City is commercial.
Well, yes, it is.
I'm disappointed in you, Bob. Software piracy over the air, setting a bad example for your listeners?
It is not software piracy if I buy it, is it?
You're condoning the copying of it, though, over the air. And
You're allowed... No, wait a second. To the best of my knowledge, you are allowed, for demonstration purposes, to let people use software. I am a very, very good computer guy in that I buy my software. I used to be like everybody else and would steal the stuff left and right. I had all kinds of hopelessly cracked programs, but I am a real good boy about that, I promise you.
Okay.